Hey, there he is. What's up, folks? Welcome. The show just went off the air. My name is Tom Clark, the host of Tom Clark's Main Event, which happens most every Friday here on Wrestling Rumors Facebook page. We're going live once again tonight. Last week we did the same thing after Dynamite went off the air. We're doing the same thing again here tonight. This time we are reviewing the night one of AEW Fyter Fest. We're not reviewing NXT here tonight. Folks, if you watched AEW or if you didn't get to catch it, if you watched NXT and maybe you want to find out what went down, well, you got the right show. We're going to talk about it here tonight. So we got people coming in right now. Thanks a lot for giving us a little bit of your time. We're not going to keep you all night, man. We're going to probably go about 30 minutes. We're going to try to cram all 2 hours into 30 minutes. We did it last week, and I thought we were it was nice and tight and got everything we wanted to say out in 30 minutes. So we'll try to do that again here tonight. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hello to everyone tuning in. If you're just now joining us, yes, we are reviewing night one of AEW Fyter Fest. Please tell us in the comments what you think there about the show. And we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? The show kicked off with Chris Jericho coming out for commentary, screaming at the top of his lungs. You ever had pyro before Excalibur, you dumb idiot? It's just good stuff. Jericho is gold. He's absolutely perfect on the mic. I love hearing this guy on commentary almost as much as I did hearing Punk in his prime on commentary on Monday Night Raw. Jericho is he's so funny. He's so entertaining. It's just a blast to hear him. People talk about how he looks in the ring and one match to the other, that kind of thing. But dude, no one can take it away from this guy, what he can do on the mic. I mean, it's just absolutely pitch perfect. So awesome. First match out the gate, MJF and Wardlow against Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. MJF cuts a promo on Jungle Boy. He brought up Jungle Boy's dad, the recently passed on Luke Perry. You had to know that. I'm sure that was with Jungle Boy's okay. He had the green light from him. I'm sure of that. But, brought up Jack Perry's father, which got some oohs and ahs, and I mean, it should have. It's kind of a low blow, but it's MJF, right? Because he said that Jungle Boy should be at home counting his daddy's money. This pretty much brought everything out full force. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus came out before the music even hit. They came out with a vengeance. Time to play the feud here, folks. It was a very fun match. All four guys really delivered. Fun to watch. Marco Stunt comes out for some reason, gets manhandled by Wardlow. MJF tries the ring, the ring gimmick he's got there. He missed. He nearly hit Wardlow. Then Lucha kicks his arm, making him hit Wardlow. Lucha hits the chokeslam on Wardlow, gets the win. Here's the thing about that finish, man. That's a very tricky finish. If your timing is off in the slightest, that thing doesn't work, and then MJF is having to force his fist to go forward. I'm sure they ran through this before. But, man, I thought it was pretty cool. So what'd you guys think of the match? Shannon says, love the MJF mentioned ratings war. Yeah, I did that too. That was pretty cool. A lot of folks coming in right now, loving the show. Enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty cool. This match was good. I continue to be impressed by Luchasaurus. It's not that I never have been. It's just that it seems like every time I see this cat in the ring, I see something a little bit more exciting from him. The guy is just as athletic. I'm trying to compare him to somebody. He reminds me of Jeff Cobb because of his athleticism. He does stuff in the ring that Cobb doesn't do. He reminds me a lot of oh man, and I can't remember his name. Brody. Not Brody Lee. God, Villain Enterprises. Help me out here, guys. Big man, Villain Enterprises. Why can't I remember his name? Isn't that terrible? I'm about to go look it up. Bear with me here, folks. Let's see. Because I don't want to let's see who we got here. Brody King. Not Bruiser Brody. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. If you don't know who Brody King is in Ring of Honor, man, you're missing out for sure. The guy is Luchasaurus, but like 20 pounds heavier. unreal the stuff he can do, because Brody trained in Luchador. And I can imagine him and Luchasaurus either tagging up or having a match together. That thing would be awesome. But Brody King is awesome, and that's just who he reminded me of tonight. Luchasaurus did. So again, good fun tag team match, and like I said, all 4 guys delivered. It was really good stuff. Shannon says very good opening match. I agree with you 100%. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed every second of it. I thought it was pretty cool. Let's see. Eric says, Tom, what's up, buddy? Sorry if late lost, and I can't wait for next week. Same here, man. Same here. I enjoyed it as well. So, yeah, that was a good match, man. But we got a lot more to talk about here. Let's get to the next thing. Evidently, and I didn't catch the name of this, but evidently AEW is going to have some sort of puppy bowl after Fyter Fest next week. Okay, so I don't know what this is, and I don't know if they're just having fun with it, if it's just for laughs. But of all the stuff that they could actually put on TV, this feels more like a WWE, I don't want to say tactic, but sort of silly gimmick kind of thing happening. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe the whole thing is just innocent, harmless fun. It won't matter to anybody in the end because it is what it is, and who really cares kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. But it seems silly and out of place. So I have no idea where they're going with this. I guess we'll all find out together next week. Lance Archer shown outside the ring with a pushy shoving match with Joey Janela. Lance, once again, doing his best to upset everyone. So, yeah, it was we forgot to throw our banner up there. Hey, there we are. That's me, by the way. What's up? So, Lance Archer proving once again that he is the biggest and nastiest and meanest bully in all of AEW. And I like Lance a lot. I'm glad that he's finally getting a break. He got a huge break in New Japan, fully took advantage of it, and I thought he looked great in that company. He's looking even better in AEW, where he is being treated like a top guy. He spent a lot of years in this business to earn and to deserve the spot that he now has in that company. I'm happy for the guy. He genuinely seems like a good guy, or a good person, and that's even better. So, yeah, I'm glad to see all this happening for him for sure. Next up, we have the I was going to say HVW. That'd be good. By the way, check out High Velocity Wrestling. There you go. The AEW Women's World Championship match. This is Hickory Cheetah versus Penelope Ford. Kip Sabian, as we knew he would, comes out with Ford. There's a little bit of back and forth before the bell rings, and Sabian does enough to get himself thrown out, which is a little bit of a different twist there at the beginning of the match, but it's all good. Cheetah comes out strong, goes to the offense, high-octane match from the jump. Some of the action was a bit too sluggish after that. If I'm being honest with you, it's not a deal breaker. It is what it is. There was a slap fight that breaks out at one point, actually. A great move near the end of the match where Penelope, here comes Hikaru Shida off the top rope with a drop kick, and Penelope Ford actually hits that Matrix move, the backwards Matrix move that Trish Stratus used to hit. And it was beautiful, just very well executed, and really fun to look at. You know what I mean? She hits Cheetah with the stunner. She only got a 2 count. Ford distracts the referee outside the ring. Sabian comes back in, tries to attack Cheetah. Cheetah hits him with the kendo stick. Ford tries to come in, take advantage, drops her, but only gets a 2 count. Penelope then climbs the ropes, goes for a moonsault, missed. Hikaru Shida hits the Falcon Arrow, didn't get the pin. Shida hit the Shining Wizard, pinned Ford. Well-paced, good match overall. That was the Women's World Championship match. What did you guys think of that bout? In terms of where Penelope Ford is right now, she is actually a veteran. She's been around for a little while, and she knows what she's doing in the ring. As far as should she or shouldn't she be contender for the Women's World Championship? Should she or shouldn't she be Women's World Champion at some point? I think she'll probably get there. They look like they want to do something with her. I don't think this is over for her. It does kind of strike me as interesting. They would just suddenly make her a contender out of the thin blue air. But I will put it to you this way, folks. If she's going to be there and they're going to invest in her, then they need to do something with her. So, I mean, it's not one of those situations where it's like the other company that signs all these talents and just keeps them on the sidelines and they never get a shot at anything else other than just being role players. I don't think that's what this company is all about. So, that's just something to think about. Timothy says this was an awesome show. I couldn't agree more. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Eric, I'm reading your comment, bro. I'm not trying to put language up on the screen there if we can help it. But yeah, it was a nice line that Taz had on there. We'll get to it though. So yeah, like I said, man, I enjoyed this match. I actually liked it better than I thought I would. Cheetah had a couple of different points near the end of this match, reminded me a lot of Asuka, if I'm being honest with you, which was a nice touch. And really, she was channeling Asuka, I think, near the end of this match, just with her mannerisms, the way she was moving around the ring. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this for sure. We got a preview of Moxley versus Cage. Apparently, Mox will be there despite his wife getting COVID. Those were the notes I wrote as the show was going down. Little did I know what was going to come later on in the program. We will get to it. So yes, no worries. Next up for the AEW TNT Championship, we had Jake Hager versus Cody. Hager was introduced as the Rock Hard Jake Hager. That's a reference. And by the way, if you're wondering what the blessed heaven that was a reference to Hager's promo from his last MMA fight. That's the stuff he sort of had some diarrhea of the mouth after that match, if I'm being honest with you. And he said what he said. It is what it is. He's a unique cat. You know what I mean? So Cody out with Arn Anderson, of course. A nice even match from the start. A very much a getting to know you situation, as Mauro Ranallo would call it. A good old school fight, as Cody has said numerous times before. That's what he's here for. It's what he loves. Hager suddenly went for Arn outside the ring. There was a distraction earlier in the match that caused this. He pushed him back, sort of was choked, kind of just fell on it, if I'm being honest with you. It kind of looked like he may have lost a step or was just sort of barely shoving Arn back against the wall there. But yeah, he did go for Arn, but nothing really became him because Arn showed back up later on the match. So apparently he was fine. No worries. Cody does a top rope reverse cutter, a thing of beauty. The dude balanced on the top rope and stood there in midair. Like, just awesome. Great athleticism from Cody on that one. He only got a 2 count. Hager hits the Hager bomb, which Jericho's screaming at the commentary team to not call it a Vader bomb. But he only got a 2 of his own. Hager gets the ankle lock on Cody, but Cody gets to the ropes. Hager's wife gets involved. Hager puts Cody back in the ankle lock. Dustin comes out to even the odds. But Hager hits the move. Cody rolled over and pinned Hager in the process. So Hager thought he had him. Cody up on top with Hager's shoulders down. Okay, so Jake thinks he's won. He's won. He wasn't used. He didn't realize that he didn't. Supposedly gets up and celebrates. So he punches the referee. If you saw that ref at the beginning of this match, and you thought, that's odd. I haven't seen that guy a whole lot. There's probably a good reason for that because the whole thing was set up to begin with. But I thought the match was good. Cody continues to have solid matches. I don't know about the Rock Hard business, but Hager had a solid match for sure. Rock solid match. How about that? So yeah, I was happy with this. I didn't see a whole lot of negativity in there. Hager, in my opinion, can have moments of being a little. When I say stiff, I don't mean he's too forceful. I mean stiff in terms of body language. Sometimes it's like he's not like it's hard to explain. Like he's a little too firm, maybe, I guess is the word. Like sometimes he does feel like he's very comfortable. But, that isn't all the time. That's just sort of moments that just kind of come and go. So I thought he looked fine tonight. I didn't have any issues with the match at all. And again, I think Cody's in his element defending the championship the way he's doing. They really are treating it like a television championship. And I think if the NWA hadn't brought it back, it probably would have been the AEW World Television Championship, which I would have been fine with, no matter if the NWA had done it or not. So let's see, get some comments here. James says Cody is a great worker. I agree with you on that for sure. Let's see. I'm actually glad he's not like Brock. In other words, he actually shows up and defends the title. Yes. Shannon says TNT title feels very important with it being defended every week. It was a great match. I agree with you, and I'm sure that was their goal from the very beginning with this championship. We get a Darby Allin Vennett. He's shown at home doing some wackadoodle skateboard stunts with his boys. There's guys on fire, all kinds of stuff going on at that place. That kid is just like we've said it before on the show and on my podcast. That kid's fearless, man. There's no doubt about it. Next up, we got Orange Cassidy coming out to the commentary table. Of course, he and Jericho have a showdown next week on night 2 of Fyter Fest. He's coming out for the Proud and Powerful versus Private Party match. Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn out with Matt Hardy. Hardy's been acting as their manager / mentor for the past several weeks. Both teams doing what they do best, trading the advantage back and forth throughout the match. Private Party gets the win. Jericho throws water on Cassidy. There's a pull apart, if you can call it that, because Orange is just kind of standing there. They're hyping next week's match. Ray says, is Darby turning heel? I hope not. I haven't had much indication that he's turning heel. They could do anything with that, but I just think Darby's just too good of a face to turn heel right now. And honestly, if you're going to turn that kid heel, then a lot of the dynamic stuff he does in the ring is going to have to be toned down, because that's one of the things that gets him over as a face, if I'm being honest with you. So, I don't know how you do that and actually make it work. I don't think it's impossible, but I don't know how you do that right now and make it make sense, if that makes sense. Danny asking if I watch NXT. No, I'll watch it later. Honestly, Danny, I watched Dynamite tonight, or Fyter Fest, I should say, and that's what we're doing tonight, is reviewing the show. James says Cassidy needs to win over Jericho. James, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, if I'm being honest with you. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Chris has proven more than one time in that company he's not afraid to put people over, for sure. Ray says Private Party are amazing. Will they win the belts? I think they will in time. But those belts look like they're going to be FTR's property, maybe sooner rather than later. That's just my guess. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens between Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho next week. It's going to be interesting to see that. If I told you I was looking forward to it as one of the best matches ever, I'm not saying that, but I will say this: Orange is better than what people give him credit for, because his gimmick doesn't lend itself to oohs and ahs. It's more like haha, that kind of thing. So let's move on with the show here, folks. We get Dasha backstage with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. And once again, AEW, like they did last week, is going the typical WWE route, where she says, "How are you feeling?" Are we still doing this? Is that really the best we can do? I'm being straight up when I ask you that. Is that the best we can do here? What are your thoughts and how are you feeling? Yikes. I don't need that. I wasn't in love with Dasha when she's in WWE. I'm not in love with her here. If I'm being totally honest, I didn't love her as ring announcer. No disrespect. I don't think that's her niche. I like that Justin Roberts is back because he's fantastic. Just my opinion. He gets accused of going too overboard sometimes. Eric says, what do you think of FTR teaming with Young Bucks next week after the match? I think a big brawl. What about everyone in the Elite saying the FTR phrase? Is that a reason they took the name? No worries, man. FTR came from the Young Bucks, supposedly, when they first started their heat online, and it was F the Revival. So there you go. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens next week. I think it is going to be huge. There'll probably be some pull-aparts next week for sure. Mike says, do you think if FTR wins the belts, will Hangman Page turn heel? I think we all kind of knew that Hangman was going to turn heel, but maybe the ship has sailed. AEW did the best they could, convincing you that MJF wasn't going to turn, and then he did. So maybe that's what they're doing here, is that they've convinced everybody that Hangman's not going to turn, that he ends up doing it anyway. Maybe. We'll see. Danny says he's athletic, but don't like Orange Cassidy with the hands, the pockets, and the shin kicks. He's not for everyone, Danny. If I told you he's a favorite, I'd be lying. I don't really play favorites, that kind of thing, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, he strikes a lot of people like that. So you're not alone in your feelings on that, for sure. Omega and Page are not worried about the best friends. They point out that they've taken out everybody that they've faced so far. Then we get the news that Jon Moxley will indeed defend the AEW World Championship, but not next week. He'll actually do it at Fight for the Fallen on July 15th against Brian Cage. He is going to quarantine, evidently. So that's the latest on the situation. Good for him. Good for AEW for taking the proper precautions, which a lot of people out there should be doing, and they're choosing not to, because they'd rather believe their best friend Bubba than to believe educated scientists. That's just my little dig for the night. So there you go. Yeah, better be safe than sorry. Next up, we get Brian Cage, who comes out with Taz immediately after this news. Someone's saying Mox is in talks with WWE. Curtis, come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on. You can't really believe that, right? Tell me you don't believe that. All due respect. Come on, man. He left that company behind. Good for him. He's happy. Let the guy be happy as John Moxley. He doesn't need to be Dean Ambrose again. That stuff's over. So we get Cage out with Taz interviewing the ring. Taz said the cat was out of the bag. Mox would now defend against Cage on July 15th. Taz said they're not mad about the change at all. In fact, he said he spoke to Tony Khan earlier today about Mox. Mox is concerned about the health and welfare of AEW employees. Taz then said Mox has been tested twice, but that he wasn't coming next week. Taz said they don't run a sloppy shop. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. Yes, that's right. Taking a not too subtle dig at WWE. Good for them. I think WWE needs to be called out on ridiculous nonsense, okay? Every company does, and I think that they deserve that. They deserve a heck of a lot more, okay, for not taking the precautions to begin with. Eric said, Tony Khan says he got some surprises lined up in the podcast. Can't wait. Yep, we'll see what happens. Yep, Shane seconding that emotion. Love Taz's promo, especially the shot that'd be for sure. Shannon says, glad they are being safe, taking precautions. Plus, this gives more time for building a match. Absolutely right on that one for sure. Next, folks, the main event time. Trent's mom gave he and Chuck a ride to the show. That's different. Did you think of Buff Bagwell's mom? I sure did. Paige and Omega look very good in their element in this match. FTR show up very early on with lounge chairs and a cooler full of beer. They sit up on the commentary table. This is a solid tag team match as we expected it would be. Plenty of near falls at the end. Seemingly has some new champs more than once. Hangman Page hits the buckshot lariat and looked like it was out of nowhere. And I don't know, anticlimactic finish, and then just got the 3 count. It almost felt like this was not the finish, like they had to ad-lib it. Now, don't take that as the gospel here, folks. That's just me throwing it out there to you. It did feel like the thing was improvised at the end. We'll see if there's any details come out in the next couple of days or so, but that's sort of how it felt. FTR comes to the ring. They offer Kenny and Paige some beer. Paige happily accepts. Of course he would. Omega accepts. They all have a toast. They all have a drink. And then Omega pours the beer out in the ring. FTR, of course, takes offense to that. Then the Bucks come out. There's a little pull apart to end the show. Paige is upset that Omega would pour the beer out. So, yeah, that's how we ended the show, man. Overall, what are your impressions? What's your take? What are you left with? How are you feeling about the very first night of AEW Fyter Fest 2020? Ray says that Paige and Kenny are solid. Absolutely. Ray also says Kenny really doesn't drink, or is that a gimmick? I don't know if it's definitely a gimmick, but I'll put it to you this way. I would not be surprised to find out that Omega is clean as a whistle, much like Triple H before him. I don't believe Kenny is the kind of guy that parties. He's always, from everything I've heard, read, and seen, he is one of the guys that after the matches, in between matches, he's in the back with like the PS4, the Xbox, and playing video games and like just relaxing. And he's not the partying type after a show. He's kind of kind of keeps himself. Now, that's scuttlebutt. That's kind of things you get secondhand. So whether or not that's true or 100%, who knows? James asked about a Horseman type group in AEW. I think they've already got a Horseman type group with the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara is out, but there's every indication that he will be back. I think they've already got their Horseman group for sure. Mike says he might be straight edge. A lot of us are, my friend. Yours truly included. Very much straight edge for sure. Danny says Omega needs Kurt Angle's milk truck. That'd be funny, right? Kenny Omega versus Kurt Angle in his prime. That would have been a match, wouldn't it? That would have been fun. Yeah, man, I enjoyed this match, and I especially enjoyed the show. I didn't have anything negative to say about anyone on it. I think the team of Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Shivani, though I still feel it's one guy too many, and you draw your own conclusions from whatever guy you think is the one guy too many. But I think as a trio, they're working fine. I think they've gelled. They've really gotten better as a trio. I love the fact that Tony Schiavone is back on my weekly wrestling television. I love hearing that guy's voice. I love everything about it, to be honest with you. Because let's be honest, man, he's a legend in this business. Whether you grew up listening to him like I did or whether you didn't. I forgot to put the logos up. Isn't that terrible? Man. Click, Tom, click. Jeez. So, yeah, man, whether you grew up listening to Tony or not, or if you're just sort of coming to the party after the fact, the truth is that he's a legend in this business. I love the guy's voice. I wish it was him and Bob Caudle. Those are the good old days right there, my friend. But him and Jim Ross working together it gets the job done. Let's get the job done. So, Shane says Penelope Ford needs to drop Sabian for her to be a top female wrestler. She needs to remove herself as a manager / valet. Well, that's all depending on what she wants to do, what the company would like for her to do, and what she's willing to go along with. Her and Sabian, I think, are a good package. The idea that she needs to drop him and suddenly become this big female contender, the idea that she's even going to challenge for the Women's World Championship kind of just started. So we might get there. We might get to the point where she sees him as being a roadblock on her way to success. We'll see what happens. But I still think a lot of that's sort of fresh and still sort of just brand new right now. So we'll see what happens. Danny says, don't like Excalibur with the mask, needs to lose the mask. But I agree with that. I'm sorry. Dude, if I had a crack to work commentary for a big-time company, if you think I would show up? And see, here's the thing. He sticks to it, right? Because he says, well, I'm honoring the Lucha roots and all this other stuff because he was one of the founders of PWG, right? I mean, I guess I get it, but at the same time, it does seem a little ridiculous. Not a little, a lot ridiculous, okay? And I still don't like it. It's silly, folks. I'm sorry. It's silly. It's just how I feel. I mean, in my opinion, put your name on it. If you're proud of your work, if this is who you are and what you want to do with your life, put your name on it and own that stuff, man. That's what I say. For sure. Keith says, I really enjoyed the show. The women's match caught me by surprise. Penelope Ford elevated herself, in my view. Absolutely. I thoroughly agree on that. Shan says, any thoughts on who faces Nyla Rose next week? Not really, but she did say she's got a surprise or two next week, something like that. I still think Awesome Kong and Nyla Rose would be fun to watch for sure. Mike says, you think Rusev will come to AEW? He thinks possible. I can't say no, but all indications point to him going to Impact. There's more than just AEW out there for these men and women to go to, man, for sure. And I'm not saying that Impact should be your ideal destination because I don't know that it should. But at the same time, that company's been operating for a lot of years, man. They're still afloat, so good for them. Everyone that's been released from WWE this year has got it. Especially if we get back to the point where we can actually start running live shows in the country here, then these folks have a place to work for sure. Let's see. Ray says, hope Tess doesn't go to AEW. Tessa Blanchard, right? Yeah, we'll see. And Danny alluding to the fact that it's probably Tessa next week. Would AEW snatch her up after everything that they've said? Banning Hager from live events, banning his ex-wife from live events because of the stuff she said on Twitter. Tess has been accused of saying and doing a whole lot worse than just sending out a divisive tweet. Do you know what I mean? Now, is that going to stop that company from doing something, not signing her? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Shane says, why does AEW not give Jeff Cobb a match on Fyter Fest? Maybe he wasn't available. Maybe he's quarantining. We don't really know what's happening with Jeff Cobb right now because Ring of Honor's not running shows. So we're not really sure what he's doing right now. He could be booked somewhere else. If there's anyone else booking, maybe a local promotion or something where he's at. Or maybe he's with family and friends. Could be someone in his family is sick. I hope not, of course. Hopefully he's not sick either. But it could be anything. I don't know that AEW just didn't book him. It just could be that maybe the two sides are not doing business at the moment. Doesn't mean that they won't do business in the future. Emma says, what about could Renee Young go to AEW? To my knowledge, she's still under contract to WWE, and that's not changed. We talk about WWE all the time. how that company is, how they can be, how they can treat their people, the silliness they do on their TV and on their social media all the time. But dude, if she's happy, let her be happy. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all good. Sergio says, do you know when WWE will hit live arenas? There is no word yet, Sergio, on exactly when that's going to happen. I will tell you for sure that Vince McMahon wants that thing to happen like right now, like yesterday, dude. So we'll see what happens. I still am of the mindset that you don't rush this. I know these men and women want to get back to work. I know the TV money's there, and that's a great thing. It's keeping them afloat in a lot of different ways, man. So we'll see. But I'd like to see them get started back soon. But again, are you going to see me in an arena full of 5,000 people to see a live pro wrestling show? Not right now, dude. I mean, I think we have to be smarter than that, if I'm being honest with you. I think we have to be smarter than that. I think we all have to be very aware of our own mortality at this point and just, take care of ourselves, take care of each other kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see they're not running live shows anytime soon. Mike says, do I think Michael Elgin is done? It sure seems that way. This is not the first time he's been in trouble. It looks like it's over. Now, is it over forever? No, because somebody will take a chance and sign the guy. It won't be WWE. But somebody will take a chance and sign the guy. I would almost be certain of that. Never say never in this business. You guys know that, right? You never say never in this business for sure. Shan says Vince not taking COVID seriously. I would think everybody and their brother would agree with that notion for sure. Ray says, why did Cody get the cheap win? You know what they'll play it as? They'll probably play it as it wasn't a cheap win. It's just him wrestling smart. You know what I mean? Wrestling smart, rolling over and getting the pin. I guess I see why you could call it cheap, but at the end of the day, he is just, taking the situation, playing the hands dealt, which is what anybody else in that position, that match would have done for sure. Danny says, what did Elgin do? Oh, brother, what didn't he do? When we get off here, go Google it. You'll find out. Yeah. It's not fun stuff. So, well, folks, I don't believe in doing a review of a 2-hour show and taking 2 hours to do it, because if that's the case, you could have just watched the 2-hour show. So, or you could have just DVR'd it and watched it back. You may be doing that already. I don't know. But I guarantee you that I wouldn't be able to sit here and entertain you for 2 straight hours like the roster of AEW did tonight. Kudos to them. I thought everybody on the roster did on the card gave forth maximum effort. And I was happy with the show. So that's what we got for you tonight, man. That's all we got for you this week for the AEW review. We will be back next week with this also. We're going to review night 2 of Fyter Fest next Wednesday night, so don't miss that. Right at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to be here 2 days from now. Tom Clark's main event live 12 noon right here on Wrestling Rumors. Please come back for that. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. Please follow me on Facebook if you haven't done so already, and I will give you a follow back. That's it, man. I'm getting out of here. You guys have a happy next couple of days. Stay safe out there. Everybody be good, and we will see you back on the main event Friday. Please come back. We'll see you later. Stay tuned. Thanks much.